Thank you for hearing my little song about going live on YouTube. Right now, the mic is yours, Zulma Gonzalez. This mic is all yours.
All right. Hey, thankful Thursday, everyone. Thankful Thursday. Pump me up, pump me up, pump me up. Pump me up, pump me up. Need you all to pump me up. Good morning. Put my glasses on because I can see what I'm doing. Good morning, Roger and Dove and Mickey and Deb and Sharon and Sally and Lynn and anyone else who's listening and Katia who's out um out here somewhere um who listens in every Thursday. She is one of the most um devoted uh licensed practitioners of science of mind that I know. Um she is an avid reader. Her sacred study is her practice, absolutely her practice, one of her practices. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Katia. I don't like the way the glasses and the scarf look together. That's all ego at work. Okay, so ego's at work. And so it is. Um, yeah, so let's see, what can I talk about? I heard Dove say, teach only love, for that is what you are. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Um, and that's huge. That's huge. And when we remember that love isn't just what there's no such thing as something not being of God. Everything is of God. The stuff you like, the stuff you don't like, the things you think are wonderful, the things you think are horrible. It's all God. It's just all God. And that's a hard concept if you come from the old school of belief that, that that God blesses and God punishes. No. So, as I've said 100,000 times, my synonym for the word God is the word life. Life doesn't bless and punish. Life simply is. Life is always giving. It's always giving. It's always giving. And as we express often in religious science, it is done unto us as we believe. And the Course says that too. It really is. It's done unto us as we believe because we live as we believe. We live as we believe. I'm talking because I'm trying to get some slides together. Literally stalling for time. Anyway, as far as I can remember, it's been a good week. I haven't, the days come, the days go, the days come, the days go. Like yesterday was the last day of a class that I taught, wonderful class called The Mental Equivalent. It's by it's a based on a book by Emmett Fox, which I highly recommend. It's like 39, 50, 40, 40 pages, 40 pages or so, if that, depending on what size book you get. The mental equivalent, which simply is saying what we know that what we do comes from what we think, the mental equivalent. So what we see out here is based on what we're perceiving in here. It's that simple, but it's not easy because we want to really think and believe that what we're seeing out here, this is it. I'm right. This is the truth. Yes, it is. Listen to me. No, don't listen to me. So whatever you do, because I have yet to be able to say that I always have it right. No. And if you do, if you're the one that always has it right, by all means, tell me so I can start listening to you. um, and that just brings a thought. So the idea that okay, so how do I say this? That I was talking about always being right, and how in chapter 9, section 3, in the correction of error, it talks about that we might be acting insanely, crazy as a bedbug. We may be acting insanely, but that doesn't mean that we're wrong, because there is nothing wrong with the essence of what we are. Worth repeating. There is nothing wrong with the essence of what we are. And which basically is saying for me to continually learn to separate the behavior of an individual from the essence of what they are. But see, we're taught a tree doesn't fall far. What is it? The fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, and all that kind of stuff. Um, and in form, that may absolutely be true. Learned behavior, what Don Miguel Ruiz calls domestication in his book, The Four Agreements. Something else I just listened to this week. Oh, that's been really, oh wow, filling mentally. We Yeah, so yeah, in his he talks about this domestication. We are domesticated based on how we were brought up or not brought up. You know, some of us were, just were buck wild from way back, um, which has its advantages and disadvantages too. I say for me, it had its advantages because I wasn't taught to read the Bible. I started reading the Bible on my own, and therefore any interpretation I had was based on what my reasoning. The course talks about, reason will tell you da 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 da, So when I read that, Cain killed Abel after Cain killed Abel, and God said it's written, this is the way it's written, that God said to him, that he was cursed and he had to go. Um, Cain said, well, no, because wherever I go, the people are going to kill me. And I said, what people? Because up to that point, if we're only like in the second or third chapter of the book, in Genesis, there was Adam, there was Eve, there was Cain, and there was Abel. Okay, subtract one, that leaves three. So what people was he talking about? Himself, his mother, or his father? Um, and then, so anyway, that started me on a quest of its own. It started me on a quest because I started looking for answers to these things, and didn't find them. So I it was very difficult. Um, it was very difficult for me to um, accept that I had to die before I learned the whole truth, that it was all a mystery, it's all a mystery, it's all a mystery, and that it would all be a mystery until after I died. That just didn't make sense to me because I had already heard about this eternal life thing, and I had already understood from the very beginning that I was created in the image and likeness of God. That's the way it's written. I'm only going strictly by what was written in the Bible. That I was created in the image and likeness of God. And of course, to be in the likeness of means that you are like that. So if I am like God, and as I'm saying, I am speaking for each and every one, because there's only one. Um, if I am created like God, and God is with no beginning and no end and eternal and all that, well, then that must mean me too. So, from the very beginning of me reading the Bible, which was in 1985, only 6 years, 6 years, 5 and 7 is 12, only 7 years before I started reading the course. Um, but just from that point, from the very beginning, I was seeking it, just trying to get it to make sense. And I even decided to go to take a year of schooling to become a biblical counselor. I'm a certified biblical counselor. um and 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 I used to use the Bible to quote counsel, but there were only specific parts that I could use. I couldn't turn to any book and any chapter in the Bible to teach what I considered at that time to be God, what was God. Because there was what was God and not of God, and God didn't this, and there was too many things that God didn't, that the Bible is saying that God didn't do, or God, if God is all there is, this is too simple. All, all, just all. What else is there? because the Course says there's nothing more than, what is it? Nothing outside of. That's not how it says in the Course. Nothing more than everything. That's it. There's more, it talks about more than everything. There's nothing more than everything. And Joel Goldsmith always reminds us there is no and. There's no such thing as God and. That just every time I say that, I get excited. Every single time I say that, I get excited. And then when I found the chapter in that book, I don't remember which book now, Gloria can tell me that, but that's titled No And,
The New
got even
Horizon.
more excited. Huh?
The New Horizon has it as one of the important chapters, the 8 important chapters.
In what book? I don't have that book, so that's
It
not
is
where I read it.
somewhere else. I'd look it up for you, but the New Horizon is the 8 important chapters that Joel wants.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It's a
I know
yellow
what
book.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't have that book. I have those chapters in different books,
It might be in
and I think,
parenthesis. I'll have to look it up for you, Zelma.
thank you, I appreciate that. Um, um, or not, I'll find it because I have it. It's on Kindle. It's just a matter of me, picking. And I believe it's the fourth chapter or the sixth chapter. See how that I think it's fourth chapter, whatever book it's in. No, and but bottom line, there is no such thing as God, and no such thing as God. And Dove writes in the chat from Workbook Lesson 128, the world I see holds nothing that I want. And I'll talk about that for a moment, especially since I am in the process of decluttering. I say that with a smile, but trust me, it's a smile through gritted teeth. I don't like it. It's no, no. I am learning to like it because I actually, the course asks what for. Look, what's the outcome? What do you want from this? Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits is begin with the end in mind. What's my goal? What's the end goal here? What am I seeking to accomplish, to achieve? It may not feel good in the process on the way there, but um, but but it's what's required to get there. There are some days when I will read a study lesson, or I will read a passage of the course, or I will read something from Dr. Ernest Holmes, or Emmett Fox, or Joel Goldsmith, or Neville Goddard, or Christian Larson, or whomever, or Emma Curtis Hopkins, or I'm trying. All of a sudden, I don't want to leave anybody out, right? There are so many, but there are times when I'll read something and I have to stop. And it could be, I'm maybe just in the middle of just this, I have this amount of time to read this, and then all of a sudden I have to stop because that particular sentence, passage, phrase, word may grab my attention, and I need to contemplate that. I need to contemplate that. It's not enough to simply say the words or simply read the words. I have to embody it. I have to make it me. I have to become one with it, or recognize that those words are one with me in order to live that. In order to live that. So the world holds nothing that I want. I am, as I'm physically purging this and looking at that, like, okay, when's the last time I used that? Really, that long ago? Thinking about it, there's a woman, can't think of her name right now. She has a book on tidying, and she says to thank the object, thank whatever, basically for the purpose that it served, and then be willing to let it go. So as I'm doing this, I'm reminding myself that these things do not establish my worth. My worth has nothing to do, what I am worth has absolutely nothing to do with any of these things. My worth is established by God, established by truth, established by light, established by life. All right, and Dove continues, our only purpose for being in the world of time and space, in sharp distinction from the ego's, is to teach us there is no world of time and space. I love that. I do. I gained that understanding, really embodied that. I was in the first year of my practitioner studies, um, now called advanced consciousness studies. I like that term. Um, I was in the first year, and there was a class that had something to do with a timeline, past, present, and future. And at that time, I had little regard for people that are physically alive. My highest regard was only for people who had already made their transition. Um, and I had just experienced two of my dearest people making their transition. I had just experienced that. My mother had already passed. My father had already passed. My grandmother had already passed. My uncles had already passed. So that whole generation, those two generations were already gone. The patriarch on my mother's side of the family is 5 years my senior. Now, not that I'm that young. I know. Don't let the looks fool you. Uh, I'm carrying 68 years young. So the patriarch on my mother's side is 5 years older than I am, and on my father's side, my father, short version of the story, had 17 children among 16 women, and yeah, yeah. Thank you for that smile, Roger. I appreciate that. Um, and I am the 16th child. I am the 16th of 17. Although this is where daddy claimed, well, not this house, but with mommy, there that was home, that became home. But there was a 17th child, my younger brother, who's 5 years my junior. So the interesting, the patriarch on my mother's side is 5 years my senior. Then I have a brother 5 years my junior who I just found in 2014, by the way. Um, but there's one sister. There's one sister left. So of the 17 of us, there are three remaining. Three. She is the eldest of of my siblings. And anyway, see how that brain goes this way and that. That had really had nothing to do. That was definitely an aside. Um, um, bringing it back, bringing it back, bringing it back. Um, time and space. Time. There we go. So I had this thing where, in that particular class, where those who had passed meant more to me than those that were still on this physical plane. And it was in that class that I actually was able to collapse time. I didn't understand what that meant in the course until I had that experience, that particular evening where time collapsed. It was gone. It was gone. There was only now. It was only now, and everything that that I thought was still is, not in form, but in essence, in truth, in reality. And everything that I was worried about yet to be is not even here, because every moment is actually now. So time disappeared. And oh, what a wonderful feeling. What an amazing feeling that was for me. Something happened to me that night that made me think, if I can be a part of someone else's life to experience what I'm experiencing now in that moment back in that class, I wanted to earn my license as a practitioner, as a practitioner of religious science. And that was um, that feeling, that moment that came in the end of 2015 or beginning of 2016, and I earned my license in July of 2017. And I enjoy the tears, I enjoy the smiles, I enjoy the oneness that comes when I'm with a client, or praying with someone, as they praying with someone about them, not for them. I don't pray for anybody. I don't pray for people. If because if I could pray for people, and my prayers are answered based on four people, that puts me in charge, that makes me responsible for them. And I'm taught all over the place that I'm only responsible for this one. It would have meant that I was responsible for the babies in limbo. It would have meant that I'm responsible for the people in purgatory, and all these people that I was supposed to pray for way back in the day. No. And then limbo was gone. So where'd those babies go? I ask that question all the time. Where did the babies in limbo go when in Catholicism? They disappeared, simply gone. So the babies that I prayed for disappeared. I am not responsible for that. Um, So that's what I learned. So no time, no space. I get it. I get it. Thus, as Dove continues, and I believe he's quoting Ken Wapnick, says, "Thus the world's only purpose is to provide us with the opportunity of choosing the holy instant, the now, in which the ego thought system is chosen against, and only God's voice is heard." Ken Wapnick, and I love that. I love that. The ego's thought system is chosen against, which is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about reality. I want to talk about truth today. And it's interesting how I think I mentioned that, as you know that sometimes my theme for today comes today. My theme, it's not something I think about all week long. That just doesn't happen. When Lynn turns off the recording, I don't put any more thought to what I wish I'd done, I should have done, I could have done in the very beginning when my ego was in charge. I don't do that. I just this is it. This is it. And when it's time. And whatever's next, I'm here to listen if I can, or I have my phone on and my ear thingies in, and I'm walking around still doing and still listening. And if I can, I come back at 1 o'clock or whatever time that is that Rev Wayne is here to do the Twilight Zone, which I absolutely love. Um, uh, and all that. I don't. I'll go and listen to other people's recordings, but I don't go back and listen to my own. And I keep saying that. I keep thinking, oh, maybe I ought to go back and see what I could have, what I could have. Well, I can't could have anything. I can't could have done it. I can't should have done it. I can't would have done it. I can't go back in time, which is why there's no point in shooting on anything. The one that gets me is when um you do something, and I don't think that I think you should have done it a different way. And I ask you, well, why didn't you such and such? That's a low level question. It's a low level question because it's saying that I know how it was supposed to be, and you didn't do it according to the plan that I had in my head, which I didn't tell you, by the way, because if I had told you my plan in the first place, maybe you would have considered doing whatever it was. Why didn't you? Well, so you had this situation. Why didn't you call me? And it's sad that a person will get offended if you say, because I didn't think about you at that moment. It, it's a simple truth. Why didn't you call me? That's not what I thought about. Instead, I called 911. Instead, I called my in case of emergency person. I have been home sick with fever and the whole bit, and after the fact, talked about, oh my God, I was down for XM. Why didn't you call me? Because I was too sick to call you. That's why I didn't feel like talking to you or anybody else. I had a fever of 100 and such, and I couldn't breathe. You want me to call you to tell you that I can't breathe? You want me to call and complain to you so then you can sit back and think about, oh, doggone it, why did you have to call me? No. So that whole why thing, used that way, is a very low level question. It's a very low level question. So I'm going to continue what Dove has in the chat, and then I'm going to see if I can. Thank you, Dove. This is wonderful. He says, what keeps us in fear is not what we came here to learn. We are here to let go of fear. Mm-hmm. Number 26. Do I have a copy of the course here? All right, I'm going to have to go online for it. I have I own one, two, at least 3 copies of the course. None of them are right here in my immediate. Oh, you know what? Yeah, there is. There's one in the bathroom. Um, what did you just say, Dan? What did I just read? Um, that there's nothing to fear. To let go of fear. Oh, in number 26 of the teacher's manual, it states, I will tell you what it states. as soon as I get to it. In number 26, yeah. In number 26 of the teacher's manual, Can God Be Reached Directly? In paragraph 4, the last paragraph, it states, do not despair then because of limitations. It is your function to escape from them, but not to be without them. And I went, wow, I'm going to turn the fan on. But not to be without them. It goes on, if you would be heard by those who suffer, you must speak their language. And that's kind of like what I was talking about when I had that evening, that class. If someone else can feel the freedom that I feel right now, if I can express this in any type of way, if I can, not to tell them, not to tell them this, but to guide them to see it for themselves. Because I don't counsel. I don't do that. That's not. I can't. I can't counsel. I don't have that. No. I say coach. I say spiritual life coach. Because for me, it's just to guide you, for you to see it for yourself. I can't give you the answers. I have the answers that work for me, but I can't give you the answers to what's going to quote, quote, save you. The secret of salvation is that we're doing it to ourselves. So it's not for me to tell you, be saved. It's for you to realize for yourself that you're already saved. But it goes on here. If you would be heard by those who suffer, you must speak their language. If you would be a savior in this case, you must understand what needs to be escaped. But that first couple of sentences, do not despair because of limitations. It is your function to escape from them, but not to be without them. And the course reminds us that nobody is without fear. We all experience fear sometime or another. We all do. We all do. Um, Okay, there it is. Chapter 4. I knew it was a chapter 4. Isn't that crazy? I can remember, the chapter of the book and couldn't remember the book. That's how my mind works. I said it's chapter 4 or 6. I said chapter 4 or 6. And now that I think of why that was 4 or 6, is that when I was in advanced studies, we were reading from a book by Michael Bernard Beckwith, and we had to read chapters 4 and 6 of that book. Strange. It's strange. Um, It's strange, and I love it. I love it. It's my I it's what do you call it? My photographic memory sees part of the photograph. It doesn't see the whole picture. But see, I gave Gloria a piece of the picture, and she gave me the rest of it. In the book Realization and Oneness, chapter 4, the title is No And, of Joel Goldsmith's book, if you want to know. And I was talking about the tidying up thing. Yes, Mickey, thank you. Maria Kondo. See, I said something about tidying up. I didn't remember her name. I remember what she said. That was the and somebody. This is why we have each other. This is why we have each other. I don't know what happened that Dove wrote wow, but thanks, whatever that was. Lynn writes that I understand sometimes I am too weak to ask people here, in the house for help. Takes too much energy to explain. Might as well do it myself. Huh. Huh. Lynn, are you here? Are you here to tell me why you wrote that?
I wrote that because you were talking about when people said, "Why didn't you call me when you were feeling so bad?" And I'm like, because I can't. If I had the energy to call you, I wouldn't need you.
Oh,
All right, thank you.
it's absurd. We we in the Bible it says, don't make yourself more important than you are. Don't try to be more than you are. No, don't. Because sometimes you ask somebody, you if you do, sometimes you ask for help. I never say, call me, I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'll never say that. Call me, and if I can, I will. I will say that if I can, because sometimes, you know, people. that some of the things that people ask, of course, is, ask for insane stuff. Some people ask for crazy stuff, and it might be out of my hands. My friend Debbie, my bestie from third grade, count it up, 60 years. We've been friends for 60 years. Her mother made her transition. I mentioned this. Her mother made her transition April 27th. Her mother of 102 years, 2 months and 12 days. But Debbie's in Texas right now. And the first thing I asked her is, do you want me to come to Texas? I didn't say I'm on my way. I couldn't stop, drop, and roll. I really wasn't in a position to do that. And 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 because and I asked her because I love her. And her response, because she loves me, she says, not now. I'll let you know. She needed what we have talked every day, every other day, every couple of days or so, keeping up with my friend and making sure that, fine, just keeping track of how she's feeling, how she's accomplishing what she's doing, and holding the space for her, holding the space in my heart for her all the time. But holding a space as she'll call me, she'll say, I need your advice on something. And I'm thinking, I don't want to give advice. I don't want to give advice. I'll give an opinion. I'll give an opinion, but I will not give advice. It goes back to the same thing, because then if you took my advice and you did it the way I thought you should, and it doesn't work out, now you're going to make me responsible for what you did. See, no, and I'll say that. Well, I can't give you advice, but I will give my opinion anyway. And doing that, and as I was looking at my calendar of things to do, I would choose to ask again, do you want me to come? Based on what my calendar tells me I can do. Now, I am clearing my calendar to make myself available to go to the memorial service. It's going to be in North Carolina. So it actually works out even better, because I don't have to go as far as Texas. It won't cost me as much, blah, 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 blah. I may take my first train trip. I have never gone anywhere, any distance by train, except to New Jersey, and that's just one state over. So I may do that. I've never gone by train. I've always flown, and we'll see. It's the time involved. I don't get it, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Enough about me. Enough about me and what we should and shouldn't do. No shoulding. The heck with all that. It serves no purpose. Let's see what we have today, because I only remember part of it. And share screen. Share my screen, share my screen, share my screen. I will not take you through all of what I would normally, what's happening? Okay, scared myself. I couldn't see you. I couldn't see you. We're reminded that we're talking about A Course in Miracles and how it meets science of mind and other metaphysical teachings by so many others, sometimes metaphysical teachings, sometimes cognitive behavioral therapy teachings, all that because um it's all forms of mental work. And these are courses in mind training. It's all about mental work. So it may be metaphysical teachings, it may not be. Sometimes I never know. I never know for sure. Okay, here we go. So I'm not gonna give that too much attention today. If you but I will remind us that we have to train daily our thoughts. We have to train. We have to stay on that train. We have to stay on that train continually, because the thoughts are continuous, decisions are continuous, and anywhere along the way we can change our mind. In this book, The Mental Equivalent, and I believe I mentioned this last week, that Emmett Fox says, change your mind, not just for 10 seconds or 10 minutes or 10 days, but change your mind and keep it changed. This is what works. This is what works. as Ernest Holmes says, to try any other way would be a complete failure. We should daily train our thoughts to recognize the spirit in everything we do, say, or think. If I am continually thinking spirit, 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 no matter what's on television, no matter what's going on outside the door, no matter what the phone, what happened to the phone call, no matter what my physical condition, no matter what, no matter what somebody says to me, if I'm thinking spirit, 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 I have a way to come back to myself, come back to myself, come back to myself, and stay right there daily. Daily train my thoughts to recognize the spirit in everything we do, say, or think. And I have to admit, this maybe this is an ego statement. I do pretty darn well with that. I'm in peace most of the time. Grateful to be able to say that, because there was a time when it was, oh, I was the victim of everything. It was everything is your fault. Every single thing was my mother's fault. Everything was mommy's fault. Mommy did because she did this, because she didn't do that, because if she had done that, there's that should have thing. If she had done that, then everything was mommy's fault. Everything. Oh my gosh. And when I after I was diagnosed with ADHD, which I knew it was anyway, it was just a matter of having the formal test. And I'll tell you the truth. The only reason why I had the formal test done is because I want to have my doggy as an emotional support dog, and I wanted to be in integrity about it. I want to have paper. I want to get papers on him as an emotional support dog, and I needed the formal diagnosis, which I know. But anyway, but when I first got diagnosed, even that, well, seems like mom should have known. No. Term ADHD wasn't even out yet. I was just a precocious child. This is a course in mind training. These are all courses in mind training, and all training, all learning involves attention and study at some level. Sometimes it's just reading it. Sometimes you have to stop and contemplate it. That's what we're asked to do with every lesson, to take time and contemplate what that is. Repeat it to yourself. Say it again. Just not just say the words just to say that you did the lesson, but no, take time to feel it, embody it. If you have to do it twice, 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row. I had a woman just tell me the other day she spent a week on one lesson. If you have to do that, then so be it. So be it until you can embody it. This is not just a book to read. These are not just books to read. This is just not a place to hang out, because this is about training our minds. This is about doing what it takes to know our peace. This is about being able to remember that we are teaching only love, that love is what we are. That's what this is all about. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. And here it is: to learn how to think is to learn how to live. If I want to live in peace, if I want to live in peace, I have to realize that I am the peace. I have to realize that I live in God, that I live in God. If I want to live in joy, I have to realize that I am in joy. I and the Father are one. We naturally become master over all life when we can understand and master the process of thinking. Remember that every response you make, everything is determined by what you think you are. So if I'm thinking spirit, 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 what keeps coming back? That I am spirit. I am spirit. I am spirit. I am powerful. I am life. I am truth. There's nothing that I can't accomplish if I want. Nothing is beyond me. Beyond me. Within, now granted, within the space that I've been given, I cannot um uh physically transport myself to Texas unless catch an airplane. or take a train. I cannot do it. I mean, I have to be realistic in my in whatever. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are, and what you want to be is what you think you are. Because if you're thinking about it right now, that's what you are. You can Nothing can be nothing. What is it? God, nothing can happen that God doesn't allow. So for me to be able to think a thought about something, that something has to already be there in some way, at least the ingredients. I may be thinking about a cake, but and the cake itself may not be right there, but the ingredients for that cake are available to me. It's already there. So what you want to be then must determine every response you make. Whatever you want to be must determine the response that you make. And this is what um um the teachers the behavioral therapists are presently saying. Some say, act your way into, if I want to be an organized person, that means I'm in thought, I'm right there. Then what I do must be done in an organized way. It's because I'm doing it according to what I think I am. I think I am an organized person. Therefore, I have to do things in an organized way. All right, I'm moving on. So this morning I was on the phone with a friend of mine who was saying that he had gone to LabCorp to have some tests done. He says, I really don't like LabCorp. He says, it should, and there was the word. As soon as he said should, I started laughing. Now I had already pulled up this first passage from the course. Let truth be what it is. He was talking about how it should be more, it should have a warmer feel to it, how it's very, almost like very sterile, and I asked him, I said, were you able to accomplish what you went there for? He said, oh yeah, I was in and out in no time. I just said, I chuckled. And he got it. He knew what I'm, because he knows I always go. This is what I'm talking about now is what I talk about all the time. Anybody, if you don't want to hear anything from a spiritual perspective, then don't bother having a conversation with me. And I don't mean in a fanatical way. I don't mean I'm trying to change the way you think. I can't do that. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that the spiritual life is real to me. It's real to me. It's not my ACIM life. It's not my science of mind life. It's not my infinite way life. No, it's all my life. This is it. This is it. This is all of it. This is all of it. And once I came to understand that had that first holy instant on December 7th of 1992, that first holy instant when I realized that it wasn't, that nothing that was happening to me was my mother's fault, that none of the pain that I felt was my mother's fault. The moment that I was able to recognize that the person that I was trying to make my mother be wasn't who she was, and that if I looked at her just as who she was, that I would be able to see her differently, that I was able to see her differently and appreciate her and love her and have the kind of relationship with her that I always had. Everything changed. Everything. I mean, of course, there's in and outs, but more ins than more. I am in. I am in to win all the time. This is my life. So if you don't want to hear, what's going to ultimately be a spiritual perspective for me, don't talk to me. Just don't. Just don't. Um, and I have to admit, I'm gratefully able to say that I have very loving people in my life. People love me. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. So I'm not in their opinion, I'm not excessive. There was one fellow, he used to be a coworker, and he says, um, uh, everything you say is always so deep. He says, it's too much to think about. And I said, that's because everything you think is always so shallow. Was that mean? Mean thing to say? Well, he was a former coworker, Michael, and he passed on. He never stopped coming to have conversation with me. He never stopped coming. And I mean, he always said, "You think too much." And I said, "Oh, you don't think enough." I mean, we would do this. But he kept coming back. He kept coming back. He kept coming back. Oh, I loved him. He passed on a couple years ago. Okay, right here. Uh, Yeah. So anyway, so I asked him this morning, did you get what you went there for? Did everything work out okay? Did they hurt you? No, no, everything bam, bam, bam. Oh, so the problem is what? And he chuckled. And I said to him, I said, you just gave me my topic for today. Although, and I told him that I had just found it, I had already found this passage. So it was just coinciding with, and which I call, that's what coincidence is, coincide with. We say there are no coincidences. No, it coincides with. That's what coincidence means. So let truth be what it is. Do not intrude upon it. Do not attack it. Do not interrupt its coming. Let it encompass every situation and bring you peace. Now, I read that to him, and I took a moment to explain that last sentence. Rather than go into a situation and think that the situation should pattern itself to you. And by situation, I mean anything: who you talk to, what you do, where you go, the weather, what's on television, whatever. Rather than think that it should pattern itself to you, let it encompass, let the truth, let what is encompass every situation, and it'll bring you peace. And he said he understood that. He goes, huh. I love that. Huh. That moment, like, oh, wow. Yeah. And I'm sure that, he had said he hadn't had his coffee yet. So for him, he got it though. But I'm certain, I trust that after today, when he goes to LabCorp, he'll see LabCorp differently. Or if this conversation even crosses his mind, then yeah, he will see it differently. And that came out of chapter 17 of the course of A Course in Miracles, and in workbook lesson 268, it asks, it says, "Let me not be your critic, Lord, today, Lord, ruler, everything, the all of it." That's me, by the way, because I am the captain of my ship, and all that kind of stuff. I steer this ship. I am responsible for what I see. I'm either responsible for it all, or I'm saying I'm irresponsible. Oh, see, that sounds worse than saying not responsible. I'm not responsible for what happens to me. I'm being irresponsible and thinking that what's happening, what's occurring in my life is not something that I had something to do with. I stepped in the hole, my foot hurts, and I'm blaming the hole. Yeah. Uh-huh. Let me not be your critic, Lord, today, and judge against you. Now I'm going to, for the sake of, let me not be your critic, life, and judge against you. Let me not attempt to interfere with your creation and distort it into sickly forms. Oh, LabCorp, they should do things differently. They should have, curtains, and they should, the walls, should be painted, a nice pastel, pink or something, or let let me not attempt to interfere with your creation and distort it into sickly forms. If I've always been right, then sure I can. But if my own thoughts have caused me pain at any point in time, let me not attempt to interfere with your creation and distort it into sickly forms. Let me be willing to withdraw my wishes. That's what he said. Oh, they should. Okay. Let me be willing to withdraw my wishes from its unity, the unity of creation, the allness, the oneness. Let me be willing to withdraw my wishes from its unity. Let me stop trying to make it separate. Let me stop trying to make it be something that it's not. And thus to let it be as you created it. For thus will I be able to recognize my capital S self as you created me. Because if I'm thinking, remember now, it's all one. If I'm thinking that LabCorp should be different, then I must be thinking that I should be different too. Because I'm one with LabCorp. I'm one with the doggone LabCorp. There are things happening in the chat. I need to, I don't want to ignore. Um, Um, oh, okay. Um, I'll get back to you on that, Mickey. I will. Um, no one can fail who seeks to find the truth from Workbook Lesson 131. Thank you for that. An acceptance. That's it. Oh my God. I would come to that. I was going to come to that. I would come to that. Acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. That word should be on a post-it, on the mirror, on the refrigerator, in the car, on the door, the front door, the back door, the side door, on a window, on a kitchen cabinet. The word post the word acceptance is one word. I did say should, didn't I? Is a word that would be beneficial, because the second we realize I'm not feeling right about this, that means I'm not accepting it. I'm not accepting it as it is. Yes, and it's only a movie. It is only a movie. It's only a movie. It's only a movie. It's not a good movie. It's not a bad movie. It's only a movie. It's not, nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. There are so many um uh phrases out here, sentences, what is it, quotes out here that are all saying the same thing. In the Bible, it says, whatever is true, whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, whatever is of good report, think on those things. Think on those things. Let me be willing to withdraw my wishes from the unity of life, and thus to let it be as you created it. For thus will I be able to recognize myself, my actual self, as you created me. In love was I created. This goes back to where Dove was. Teach only love, for that is what you are. That's in chapter 6. Teach only love, and that is what you are. In the message of the crucifixion, teach only love, for that is what you are. It's written that when Jesus was on the cross, it's written. I wasn't there. It's written that Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He wasn't specific, because he wasn't coming from a place of ego. He wasn't saying, "Forgive them for poking these hole, this hole in my side. Forgive them for sticking the nails in my hand. Forgive them for putting this crown on my head. Forgive them for spitting on me. Forgive them for making me carry this damn cross." No, that's not the way it's written. That's not the way it's written. All of it, all of it, all of it. Spirit, spirit, spirit. When I can look at something, when I can look at it and just call on spirit, that's forgiveness right there. I'm letting go of what I think it is, of what I am perceiving it to be, of my sickly forms, of my distortions, of what I'm claiming it to be, and I am giving myself opportunity to see it as it is. In love was I created. In love was everything created. And in love will I remain forever. Love, it's all, if I'm in God, it's written, I live, move, and have my being in God. I live in God. I live in love. I move in God. I move in love. I have my being in love. In love. Teach only love, for that is what you are. So what can frighten me when I let things be, when I let all things be exactly as they are? How can I be afraid if I'm thinking love? How can I be afraid if I'm realizing and recognizing that I am love? How is that possible? How is that possible? To continue with the course, in dreams you arrange everything. Here's the other side of that. People become what you would have them be, and what they do you order. No limit on substitution are laid upon you. I can substitute anything for everything. So I can say, yeah, because you're supposed to be acting this way, which means that I'm not accepting you acting the way you are. So I'm substituting you for something else. For a time, it seems as if the world were giving you to make it what you wish. And I say, this is my quote, wish world is not a real place. That's my quote. You do not realize you are attacking it, trying to triumph over it and make it serve you. Mm. And you know how much kicking and screaming we do when something is not going our way, when something you're not doing something the way I think you should. Isn't anger, the course teaches, and I had read before, just somebody doing something happening the way differently from the way you think it should be? Dreams are perceptual temper tantrums, the course reads, in which you literally scream, I want it thus. I want it this way. Do it like I say you should do it. And thus it seems to be. But see, you think that you have controlled something. You think you have controlled somebody because they did what you wanted them to do. Now, early on in the course, it talks about how we can do what we don't want to do. So I could be doing what you asked me to do, and I don't want to do it, which means that it's certainly not coming from a place of integrity. Say you're sorry. Tell that child, say you're sorry. And the, and the child says, I'm sorry, they don't mean that. They just don't want to hear that what mommy has to say. They want mommy to shut up. So they say they're sorry and they can get whatever the candy was it came with. Whatever. Doing what they want to do. I want it thus and thus it seems to be. And yet the dream cannot escape its origin. I'm stuck in this dream. I'm stuck in this belief that I have control over those babies in limbo. That's always one of my best examples. Anger and fear pervade it, and in an instant, the illusion of satisfaction is invaded by the illusion of terror. Because the fact is, I may have gotten you to do what I wanted you to do, and for a split second, I might have a feeling of satisfaction. But whoa, wait a minute. If the big bad wolf, I don't know why this popped in my head, but if the big bad wolf had caught Little Red Riding Hood and done what he had intended to do. And if he had a conscience, let's make him kind of human for a moment. Because only humans have a conscience. Well, you know what? I wonder about that. Because if I come home and my doggy has gotten a hold of a trash bag or something, which I cannot be angry with him because the trash bag was in his reach, that was on me for putting it where he could reach it in the first place. But if my doggy got a hold of a trash bag and now there's papers or whatever all over, and I look at him and I say, no trash, and he turns his head like, oh shoot. It looks like he knows what I'm talking about. He knows that he did something that was not preferred by me. But after that, what if I said that, and then the doggy turned around and started picking up the pieces of whatever and moving it back toward the trash bag. It freaked me out. He's not trained to do that. He doesn't know how to, as far as I know. There's no telling what they know because they're smarter than we are anyway. But that would freak me out. And I would have an illusion of terror if he did just exactly what. Because first of all, it would make me think, or at least remember, that I'm more powerful than I think I am. And if I think I have that kind of power, I'm scared. I have something to be afraid of. I'm talking about informed. For the dream of your ability to control reality by substituting a world that you prefer is terrifying. In other words, I'm making the make-believe real. That's scary. Your attempts to blot out reality are very fearful, but this you are not willing to accept. And so you substitute the fantasy that reality is fearful, not what you would do to it. And reality is not fearful. It is what it is. Let all things be exactly as they are. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let all things be exactly as they are. Emmett Fox, in his book, The Mental Equivalent, writes, we are all living in some kind of prison. Some of us in one kind, some in another. Some in a prison of lack, some in a prison of remorse and resentment, some in a prison of blind, unintelligent fear, some in a prison of sickness, but always the prison is in our thoughts and not in the nature of things. Isn't that what the Course teaches? And this is, by the way, is written in like 1940 something. I don't know, 1940 something. I'm grateful to A Course in Miracles. I'm grateful for Helen Schuckman and her willingness to download this information and make it available. But it's ancient wisdom. It's ancient wisdom. And because she was a psychologist, you know, I call A Course in Miracles a book of spiritual psychology. Spiritual psychology. Now, interestingly enough, the Science of Mind textbook, I had not heard that. That kind of made that term up in my head. I thought I'd made it up. In the Science of Mind textbook, it refers to itself as spiritual psychology. And if I apply if I remember that spirit is all there is, as I'm remembering that spirit is all there is, when I'm reading a book on ADHD, or I'm reading a book or something on cognitive behavioral therapy, or I'm reading a book on how to create new habits, it's all spiritual psychology, because before it became a book, before it became whatever, it was a thought. Everything begins as a thought. Everything is an idea of God. Everything first. It's all spiritual, tangible temporarily, but it's all spirit. It's all spirit, whether it be spirit and form, spirit you can't see. It all begins as a thought. It's all an idea first. And the Course tells us that we can't lose anything, because if I share my idea with you, now we both have the idea. I don't lose the idea, you gain the idea. So now it's that times one, plus one more to make two. And if we go tell two more, then that makes four. And they accept it, makes four. And on and on. Nothing can possibly be lost. Except if I'm in a car and I'm on the express, no, make a wrong turn, that kind of thing. But even then, I told my young one, she's 24, she's not mine. She lives down the street, and she's my daughter by love. Met her when she was 8 years old, and she's been a joy to me for the last 16 years. I told you, people love me, and I am so grateful. I am so grateful, because the people that love me are just loving people. They are just warm and wonderful, and they tell me like it is when when I need to hear it, and when I think I don't. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. But anyway, but I tell all the time, baby girl, you can't get lost. You can't get. There's a gas station, a person standing on a corner, a red light. There's always some place, somewhere, someone who can remind you of where you are. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Not just when we're driving, but in life, period. That's exactly right. What I just read in the Course, if you're going to be a savior, you have to know what needs to be saved. So that person who's working at that gas station knows the direction that she needs to take to get back to where she wanted to be. We're not lost. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You're in God. Don't be afraid. You're in God. Spirit, 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 spirit. That's my word. The prison is in our thoughts and not in the nature of things. Emmett Fox continues, there is no truth in our seeming troubles. There is no reality in lack. How can it be? How can it be? If everything is everything, it's not separate from it. It is it. I am not separate from life, from God. I am it. I gave a talk, back in 21, I think. The Science of Mind, at the Center for Spiritual Living that I attend. And it was titled Love is Here, and tag, you're it. You're it. And one of the examples I used thinking about it was from the movie Fallen, with Denzel Washington, Mr. Denzel Washington. And without giving the movie away, that people would, there was this one person had this energy, this quote, quote, spirit, had this energy, and he touched someone and it passed on, and it continued to pass on. And I use that as an example that everything is flowing through everyone all the time. Everything, everyone, everywhere, always. That's what my definition of God. Everything, everywhere, everyone, always. That's what God is. How can it be Lord, ruler? If you, I mean, if we use it, that terminology, how can we call it the Lord of everything? How can we call it Lord if it's not everything, if it's not everywhere, if it's not everyone, if it's not always? We're taught omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. None of those words which are in the Bible, by the way. I wonder where that came from. I really wonder where that came from. Those words are not in the Bible. Omnipresent is not a word in the Bible. But anyhow, but it does say the Lord our God is one in the Bible. The Lord our God is one. It does say that, wherever I go, whether I go up to the heavens or whether I go down to Sheol, no matter what, you're there. You're there. It's every breath. It's every breath. The life source. Always, always, always. So there is no reality in lack. Emmett Fox continues, there is no power in time or conditions to make us old or tired or sick. No power in it. Granted, the body is doing what it does. Now, of course, I don't think, I don't believe that this is talking about our physical self. Can't be. It can't be, because if it wasn't talking about my physical self in the back of my neck, I wouldn't have this thing going on with my neck that's causing pain in my head. But no power in time or conditions. Hey, hi. I saw you. Sure. Good to see you, love. Good to see you for just that moment. Glad to see you. There is no truth in seeming troubles. So I know that this is not talking about the physical. It's talking about the essence of what I am. It can't, I'm not, the essence of me is not old. The essence of me is not tired. And the essence of me is not sick. I have to hold on to that. Spirit, 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 spirit. Build a mental equivalent of freedom, of vibrant physical health. Now, this is Emmett Fox speaking. A woman in the class last night had spoken on the fact that she, in the first class, we were one of the instructions was to start to focus an idea of what it is that they wanted. And one woman talked about this pain that she was continually having in her hip, and she reported last night because it became her focus that she and was suggested, don't use the word pain in your affirmation, what you're affirming. Don't use that I have no pain, because that's saying I don't want it to rain. The course teaches, basically say what you want. Do only this. Do only this. Not don't do that. You don't give instructions by saying don't make a left at the corner. You don't do that. You do that, and you're bound to somebody's going to think left. No, you say go to the corner, turn right. So it was suggested to her that into her to affirm what she wants. And last night she told us that she has been upright and walking and with no pain, and the smile that came across that woman's face. I knew she was telling the truth. I knew she was telling the truth. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible. It says build a mental equivalent of freedom, of vibrant physical health, of true prosperity, of increasing understanding and achievement for God. Build it by thinking of it, having faith in it, and acting the part. What's it say? What we do comes from what we think. And the old limitation equivalent will gradually fade out, for the door is unlocked and the voice of God in your heart says, be free. The mental equivalent. We think a thought, and then what we do comes from what we think. What we do comes from what we feel. What we feel comes from what we think. That's the cycle. In the cognitive behavioral chart, that's exactly what it says. It says thought, feeling, behavior. I used that months ago in one of these talks. Thought, feeling, behavior. Not feeling well. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? And I'm not necessarily meaning physically. I don't necessarily mean physically, but it could be. It could be because how many times have I not wanted to do something and all of a sudden I didn't feel good. I just didn't. Oh man, I'm so tired. I can't. The lies I told, the lies I told. All right. Um, so Daniel Lee Morgan, from his book, Guidance for a Spiritual Journey, Dr. Dan, as they called him, he wrote, "It is important and helpful to remind yourself that truth is true." I love this, whether you demonstrate it or not. Truth is true whether you demonstrate it or not. Because the truth is always true. That's never going to change. It's just not. And it has to be true across the board. This is the thing. This is the thing. I just mentioned this pain in the back of my neck. If every one of you would have to have, what do they call it? Cervical stenosis. If it were a real thing, real meaning permanent. If it were a real thing, it has no permanence. What has no permanence is what the Course calls not real. This is considered, okay, so when they found this like a gazillion years ago, I was still working for the post office, and I discovered that the more I continued, doing the repetitive work I was doing, the more that was going to bother me. Um, when I go to serve as a caregiver, I take my computer with me. So I have my computer, I may have my tablet, I have the extension cord that goes with, and I have charger for my phone, and I have a bag of whatever food I'm taking for myself and for my doggy, and other things, whatever things I think I need to get me through the day. And I'm carrying this stuff to the car 3 days a week. And by the end of the day, or even not even sometime middle of the day, right there in my neck, it hurts like crazy. And it causes head pain. Hurts like crazy. And I can take a couple Tylenol for it, or I can even close my eyes and sleep it off for a little bit, take a nap, or reposition and just be still and all that. But everything I just said is temporary, because I have not picked up any of those things today. I have not done. My computer's was already sitting here, and everything is all already laid out. Plugs, everything. Puppy food. We haven't eaten yet. Well, he hasn't. He hasn't had his meal of the day yet. Haven't touched anything that has any kind of weight, and I feel no pain. It doesn't stop the fact that I've been diagnosed. My body was diagnosed with cervical stenosis. Yeah, yeah. That's so whether I pick up that computer or I don't. That is so whether whatever. But it's but see, the pain is temporary. It comes and goes. There are moments when I just smile and I'm like a Cheshire cat because I'm feeling so great. And then there are moments when I'm not feeling so great. That's all temporary. It's all temporary stuff. And I have to remember that, because interestingly enough, there are times when I can, or I have actually, quote, made the pain go away. Remembering, just in the remembering, just in the remembering. But we're taught too that the healing is not about the body. because in truth, there is nothing to be healed. It's the truth to be revealed. What did that um what did that quote from the Course say? Um, the top one. It says, "Let truth encompass every situation and bring you peace." Let truth encompass the situation, not the situation to do my bidding. Oh, I have this stenosis. Oh, this is a terrible thing. Oh, I might as well just die. This pain, I just can't take it. It's horrible. Let me tell you all about it today, tomorrow, next week. I'm pretty sure you won't even want to talk to me after that for a while. Not today, tomorrow, maybe today, but not tomorrow and not next week. It's no, no. And if I want to keep it going, then I keep on talking about it. If I want to keep it going, I can just keep on talking about it. I can't make it stop. Now, uh, and I just have just use as the example. But trust me, I'm not going to walk around, thinking, oh, I shouldn't, work with work out a little bit with with the weights because of the stenosis. No, 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 no. I will, um, I'll do it in moderation. I may do some exercises differently than is suggested, doing more up than trying to pull down and get the weight, all that kind of stuff. It's important and helpful to remind yourself that truth is true, whether you demonstrate it or not. If I use this example of cervical stenosis, if I use a physical example, then yeah, I don't have any pain today, but the diagnosis didn't change. All right. But even beyond that, before the day is going to come when my neck, I won't even give thought to my neck. I won't, not at all, not at all, because it's just part of my communication device. I can't tell you how many computers I have purchased. Let me talk using a computer as a communication device. How many computers I have purchased since I first started using computers. It's a communication device, and it hasn't stopped me. It hasn't stopped me from being able to do whatever it is that I'm doing. I just have to use a different communication device. Let's see, there are things happening in the chat. Okay, I read that about the movie. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Teach only love, absolutely. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Thank you, Sally. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if you still, thank you very much. Oh, she left, but thank you anyway. If you're still listening somewhere, thank you, thank you. Um, Grateful for truth. Yes, Dub, absolutely. Grateful for truth. Because the truth is true no matter what. And and the course has condensed a lot of the teachings out here. It's condensed it. I was just reading about it didn't say upside down thinking, but it was basically saying the same thing, that 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 this may be a new teaching. It was a book from Emily Cady, Emily Cady, and long gone. I mean, way before. I'm talking from she's from one of the old um, metaphysical teachers, and she referred to it. It's a new way of thinking, but this, and it might seem strange to you at first, but stick with it, and that's exactly what the Course says. Different words. This might this this might not even make sense. You might not even want to believe this stuff. However, stick with it. It will prove itself, and it has. Because what the heck do you mean nothing? Nothing I see means anything. That didn't make a bit of sense. Nothing I see means anything. I'm sitting here looking at Roger, smiling and saying that doesn't mean anything. It means something to me. Oh yes, it does. Why? Because I have given Roger all the meaning that he has for me. Now, 3 weeks ago, no, Roger was here last week. He was not here the week before. And I've seen Roger, once or twice in a room, but I've now seen him 2 weeks in a row. Roger now has more meaning to me. When I walk away from this computer today, I will remember Roger. Now he has a last name for me too. You were just a Roger. Now you have a last name too, Roger. Okay. It was there last week, but it didn't mean anything to me last week. now it's gone in memory, like with chapter 4, this, that, the other, this page, that kind of thing. It just goes in and it stays in some strange place. It stays in some strange place. Because I may very well somewhere along the way, a month from now, say, oh, his last name, I don't know, something to do with water. Is it Waterhouse? Is it boat? No, Shipley. So, but the point, meaning to me now, meaning, like your smile, your laughter. Thank you. I appreciate that. But the truth is true, whether you demonstrate it or not. Whether you were on camera or off, if you were going to smile or laugh or whatever, whether I saw the smile or not, whether I saw your laughter or not, the truth is still true. It still is. It still is. We let all things be exactly as they are. All right, let's see. I have one more slide, and then so in my favorite book from Ernest Holmes, the first book I read by Ernest Holmes, this thing called You, he wrote, "What thought has planted, thought can uproot." Now, in the course, we call that atoning. Atoning means to undo. What thought has planted, thought can uproot. The conditions laid down by mental attitudes, whether or not you are conscious of them, can be changed. And that part about being conscious of them is important because I the first man I married was physically abusive. The last man I married was more a mental thing, psychological. The things were going on covertly. See, that physical thing was like literally in my face, right? Literally in my face. with 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 my former husband, I didn't see it. I didn't realize it was going on until the day that I did. The 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 unconscious want. There was an unconscious want to be quote quote abused. I'll put that in quotation marks. It was I had victim mentality with the first husband, just like I had victim mentality with that one. Just maybe not. Maybe I felt it was less. I don't know. Victim mentality, because in both cases it was what they did to me. Oh, there's that to me stuff again. To me, 4 kingdoms. To me, by me, through me, as me. That takes some thought. Things are happening to me, the first kingdom. Oh, I'm a victim of the world I see. Things are happening by me. I am included. I'm a part of what's happening here. Things are happening through me. I'm now beginning to understand that the Father, that I am of the Father. But when I come to as me, then I realize that I and the Father are one. When I call on God's name, I'm calling on my own. There's nothing outside of me. Nothing outside of me. Ruth L. Miller, in her book, I've said it 100 times, she says, I am my own understanding of God. But that's the same as captain of my ship. It's saying the same thing, just different words. So even though I can not be conscious of something, and which might be why the question, why is this always happening to me? I do affirmations, pray. I do my study question. I do my studies. I do my workbook lessons. I attend. I go to listen to groups. I listen to, but I'm not embodying it. I'm not embodying it. What did that, back to that first um quote from the course? It says, let it encompass every situation. Let everything embody, become a part of it. Let it become a part of you. Recognize that you are it. It is you. And then the walls can fall away. All right, to continue. If you are experiencing some condition which is unhappy, you must know there is nothing in you that attracts this condition. I'm talking about the truth of what you are, the essence of what you are. Nothing in you that attracts this condition, nothing in you that holds it in place, and nothing in you that believes it must be this way. This is why we have the atonement. This is why we can atone. This is why we can undo. This is why we can overlook. This is why we can release and let go. This is why we don't have to hold on to this stuff. I don't have to hold on to this pain. I don't have to hold on to the belief that I'm not worthy. I don't have to hold on to the belief that we are separate. I don't have to hold on to the belief that somebody out there is doing something to make my life miserable. I don't have to hold on to this. And there's stuff going on out there that can make some things questionable, but all of that is temporary. It has nothing to do with the essence of what I am. And that's what I have to hold on to. That's why I can go outside and get in my car and go somewhere at whatever time of day, at whatever time of night, whether it's daytime or nighttime. What neighborhood? Somebody asked me about. Somebody said to me yesterday. He said, "Is that neighborhood safe?" So of course it's safe. I'm walking in it. That was my response. It came out so fast. I had to chuckle. I had to chuckle because see, at this point, I am, I am daily training my mind. Now, I'll say this. I took off a piece of jewelry before I went. I had to go where I was going. I took off a piece of jewelry that I normally have visible. And I realized in this moment that in that moment I was in fear. Oh, they might steal this. I got this in Egypt. I don't want the so the thought was there. So yeah, we go in and out. We go in and out. But yet when I was on the phone and the question came, I said, of course it's safe. I'm walking in it. But then I did say what I just told you. I took this off, because we go in and out of this. All right, let me finish. I have to finish this. I have to finish. There's nothing in us, nothing in us that believes that it must be this way. The essence of what I am does not believe that things have to be bad, miserable. Turn your mind entirely from the condition and think in an exactly opposite manner. Emmett Fox said, expunge the thought. I'm going to drop the screen for a minute because I want to put something else on the screen, and then I am out. Share to finish this, to conclude this. He said, Ernest Holmes, this is from Ernest Holmes, and this was what he said. This is what I just read. He says, turn your mind entirely from the condition and think in an exactly opposite manner. Say, there is nothing in me that can entertain doubt. There is no fear, discouragement, or uncertainty. I am filled with confidence, with the expectancy of good, with the knowledge that the spirit is always triumphant. I know that my word definitely reverses any and every negative situation. In actual practice, you reverse the old thought patterns by definitely knowing that they can no longer operate through you. This is more than a theory. Thoughts of peace will reverse thoughts of confusion. A consciousness of faith will reverse fear. It is now known that fear and discouragement, the fear of unworthiness and inferiority, as well as a sense of uncertainty about one's relationship to God, probably start with an unconscious sense of rejection. Out of this comes the sense of uncertainty, fear of the future, the anxiety complex, the insecurity attitude, the feeling of not being wanted, and the sense of guilt. I'm going to stop right there with the reminder that none of this is true. All of that is temporary. All of that is temporary. What thought has planted, thought can uproot. Let all things be exactly as they are. Let truth be what it is. Don't criticize it. Don't judge it. Accept, accept, and poof, peace. And with that, Lynn, here's the mic.
Thank you so much, Zulma. Wonderful, wonderful sharing. So very